Hello, e-counseling clients. I just wanted to take a moment and do a little video update. Periodically, I do this about once a month just to say hello and make a face-to-face connection with you, and also talk about a illustration or common coping skill. Today I want to talk about the holidays. As you can see, we have our Christmas tree up. It's not real. And we had a lot of fun decorating it because this is our first tree in our brand new home. So it's been interesting trying to create our own traditions. A lot of times during the holidays, mental health is actually increased in its intensity rather than decreased. Even though we say it's the most wonderful time of the year, it often adds additional pressure for us, expectations, and increased stress, decreased time for self-care because we're out shopping and going to parties and you have to get a gift. There's like this obligation to buy a gift for someone, or even a desire, but then it's like, where do you find the time between all the festivities, the tree lightings, the decorations, the looking at those drive-by lights where they have those little towns set up that are super cute. We're gonna hopefully go to one before the holidays ramp up some more. But in general, today I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about expectations. We put a lot of expectations on ourselves and also on others. We expect others to know what we want for Christmas rather than just telling them. We expect ourselves to be up to a certain standard or having something. This is Baxter. We expect different things to happen, and so like surprises, or even just getting together with a family and wanting to get everyone around one table and everyone be nice. Like, that's a hard expectation sometimes. I wanted to share a little example of something that I had the expectation for recently related to the season. We were planning on making sugar cookie doughs, and sugar cookie dough so we can make sugar cookies. And the way we do our sugar cookies is you roll out the dough, you put the sprinkles on, then you bake it, and it's done. Some people frost their sugar cookies. My family doesn't do that, but even though those are really good too. So the expectation was it'll just be perfect the first time around, even though it was my first time making the sugar cookies all by myself. So it was a little unrealistic. But we get these weird expectations and we don't think, like, maybe that's unrealistic. So I made it the first time. I put in too much milk and I misread the recipe. Okay, scrap that batch, make another. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna start again. And so I made another batch, and it needed to refrigerate for 4 hours. And so we had planned that ahead of time and we were ready to go. We went off, did some things. Then we had our nieces and nephews over to watch The Grinch with us. We say the new, even though it was like 2000, so that was 17 years ago. Jim Carrey version. And the kids loved it, and everyone fell asleep during the movie. And so the next morning, we all woke up, and we were going to do the sugar cookies after having a really nice breakfast. And I get to rolling out the dough, because that's what you have to do before you cut it with the cookie cutters. And the dough just started to like get to room temperature because it was probably like 70 degrees here in Texas, so it was a bit warm. And it wasn't cold like I was used to when I was living in Maryland, or I don't even remember doing it when I was in Florida, but somehow we did it. Maybe it was cool enough in the house, the AC, I don't know. So rolled out the sugar cookie dough. It melted. You couldn't even get the cookie cutters to work. They looked more like blobs. And meanwhile, there's all these little nieces and nephews who are really cute, and I love them, but they're like, okay, we're ready to decorate, and like ready to play with sprinkles, and they see the flour that's spread out, and so then they start playing the flour, and they're just like patting it out all over the place and making quite the mess. And so by this point, I felt like it was just too much. I realized that I couldn't do our family recipe of sugar cookies. And now we had all these kids who had high expectations that we led them to decorate cookies. So I was with my significant other, and I just said, like, I need a timeout. And I like took a moment to kind of like go to our bedroom and just kind of calm down, because I was feeling frustrated. I had these expectations of a magical Christmas morning of decorating cookies, and here it was now we gave the kids expectations and it wasn't working. So my significant other started to make another batch, and we eventually did get to it. And then the expectation that they were going to look all pretty, and if you know, like, little kids, they're just like dump sprinkles on it, and they don't really decorate. It's more like dumping, and it's sweet in their own way because they don't have the dexterity, and they just think more is better. And so I had all these expectations, and it was all in the sugar cookies. And then I realized, like, the goal of this, and I had to realize this when I was taking a break, is to have fun and to enjoy each other's company, whether the cookies turn out or don't. And so that's what really made it fun. So when the kids literally had the flour everywhere, I was happy to clean it up because it meant they were having fun. And so I had to readjust my expectations and kind of realize, like, it's not about what I think. It's not about me. It's about the family and the experience. And it made it much more enjoyable for all of us. So sometimes during the holiday season, it's about readjusting our expectations. And the coping skill I wanted to encourage is just taking a break. Like, I just had to do it. I needed a break because I was just so overwhelmed. So I have a couple questions for you to challenge you, and I would love to hear your response back. How are you, or will you take care of yourself? Like, what kind of self-care are you going to do? How will you acknowledge your mental health without letting it take the front seat? And what are your potential holiday pitfalls? And by that I mean, like, sometimes family can be a trigger, especially for me, and I don't know about for you, but, or maybe I do for each individual client, but just speaking generally, sometimes a potential pitfall is the expectation or increased stress. Sometimes I have some brother and sister-in-laws who feel like they need to keep up with the Joneses, and so they spend all this money on gifts, and sometimes the kids just want quality time. And so what are your potential pitfalls for either mental health or even enjoying the holiday season? The last thing I wanted to talk to you about is that December 23rd to the 31st, I'm going to be taking a vacation to Florida. As you know, I'm here in Texas. And I would like to recommend we connect via phone, video, or chat session before or after that time, and to just check in and kind of see how you're doing with your mental health. Next week, which is the week of before the 23rd, I have open availability, and I would love to schedule something with you and just kind of get that packed full, because I may not be responding unless it's urgent messages the week of the 23rd to the 31st. Here's my notes. So I hope you and your family have a wonderful holiday season, and enjoy the holidays while also acknowledging and taking care of your mental health. Hope you have a great day.